You are Locked On Knicks POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, here we go. A huge fourth quarter for the Knicks tonight at the Garden against the Houston Rockets. And because of it, the comeback victory is complete. 124-118, the final score, and a big reason why the captain, Jalen Brunson, pumped in a game-high 42. He and Karl-Anthony Towns were brilliant in the fourth quarter alone. Again, 124-118, the final score. At one point in the fourth quarter tonight, the Knicks trailed by 11. But again, they take care of business against the Houston Rockets. As we said, the hero tonight, Jalen Brunson, 42. Also dished out 10 assists. We'll break it all down. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. Spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Hope you can join us. Glad you can join us. Follow me on X at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Yet another triple-double against New York tonight. It was Amen Thompson tonight. It was a fascinating watch for sure. If you watched, you know what I mean. Amen Thompson, the triple-double, 25, 11, and 10. Meanwhile, before he fouled out tonight, Karl-Anthony Towns had 22 and 9. We are getting set to break it all down again as the Knicks bounce back after the loss to the Lakers Saturday night. Much better performance tonight, specifically in the fourth quarter. We'll break it all down. All that coming up on the postcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your very first purchase. Also, before we start, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. As we said, 124-118, the final score. We'll obviously focus in on the fourth quarter tonight, which was tremendous for New York. They scored 46 alone in the final stanza tonight, outscored Houston 46-29 in the fourth, and because of it, they turned an 11-point deficit in the final quarter, again, into a 6-point win. At one point, the Knicks trailed by 12. In fact, they trailed by double digits for most of the second half, all of the third quarter, and pretty much half of the fourth quarter before they finally got things into gear. And again, the big reason why Jalen Brunson and even Karl-Anthony Towns, who did not play his best game tonight, but he was there in the fourth quarter to spark the comeback, obviously on the heels of Brunson's performance. Brunson, 14 of 27 from the floor, 13 of 14 from the line, only hit 1 3-pointer. But again, you hit 13 free throws, good enough. He also had 10 assists and 6 rebounds, as well as 2 steals, a complete performance from Jalen Brunson. As we said, 42 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, made 13 of 14 free throws. As for Karl-Anthony Towns, he was just 9 of 20 from the floor, only connected on 1 3-pointer, but some key points down the stretch. As we said, he finished with 22. Mikal Bridges also picked up the play, specifically in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter. Bridges was 9 of 18 from the floor. He too had 22 and had a couple of big 3-pointers as well. And he too, filling out the stat sheet, 3 boards, 4 rebounds, a steal, 2 blocks. So the Knicks also playing defense. What's interesting about the fourth quarter, and we'll get into it, one of the best road teams in the NBA, the Houston Rockets. One of the best defensive teams in the NBA, the Houston Rockets. Add all that up, they had an 11-point lead on the road where they're comfortable, and they blew it. So kudos to Jalen and company for getting the Knicks over the hump. Some interesting stats to get to. First off, of all the games the Knicks have played at home, and now they've played 17 of them, they're 18-9 at home. Of all those games, they've gone into the fourth quarter trailing 9 times, including tonight. This is the first time they came back and won. They were 0 for 8 in those 8 games coming into tonight. They're now 1 for 8. Tonight was their first win. Again, to repeat, because it's worthy of repeating, they've trailed 8 times going into the fourth quarter at home, and they finally won a game. Tonight's the night. And the Rockets increased their lead going into the fourth quarter. So it just tells you all you need to know about the performance and the guts and the heart of the Knicks. And speaking of heart, Josh Hart was once again exactly that. Only pumped in 19, but 8 of 12 from the floor. And that's worthy of mention because we discussed this last game. His percentage from the floor from 2-pointers and in, 66 from 2-point range is Josh Hart this season. He took 1 3-pointer and missed it. So he was 8 of 11 from 2. Just magical stuff once again. Super efficient stuff once again from Josh Hart, who, as we said, had 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, a block. He really was good tonight. As for the plus minus, Mikal Bridges was a plus 29, by far the best numbers tonight. And to give you an idea of just how thorough the fourth quarter was, as we said, plus 29 for Mikal Bridges, minus 24 for Jason Tate, who was a starting guard, in fact, for Houston. All right, Precious Achiuwa played, or at least started, in the place of OG Anunoby tonight, of course. OG did not play tonight. The right foot sprain. The Knicks are actually calling it, we'll call it day-to-day, so to speak. So not terrible news. In fact, probably pretty good news. We'll get to the Mitchell Robinson update coming up as well. But as for OG, the first game he's missed this year, and Precious Achiuwa stood in, played 34 minutes tonight, scored just 7 points, but did grab 9 rebounds, 2 steals as well. Point being, the Knicks are going to have to find a way to compete, which they did tonight, and ultimately win, which they did tonight, without the services of OG Anunoby. And again, we have no idea how long he's going to be out for. Obviously, good news is that it's not long-term, or at least we don't think it's long-term. As the Knicks called it, technically day-to-day. But again, it's a mild right foot sprain, and the Knicks are just waiting on treatment at this point in time. As for Mitchell Robinson, the news was good with OG. News is pretty good with Mitchell Robinson as well today. Visited with the doctors. He has been cleared for contact. He will take part in contact and practice. Not yet 5-on-5, but ultimately that's coming soon. So again, excellent news. Now, what's interesting about everything that's taking place injury-wise for the Knicks is that the trade deadline is now right around the corner. So we'll have to wait and see. Do the Knicks, quote unquote, acquire Mitchell Robinson? Meaning, what a deadline add that would be. A trade that doesn't need to take place, just the addition of a player. So even better. But again, lots of chatter around seemingly loose pieces, if you will, around the NBA and where they'll end up after the trade deadline. But again, great news on both the OG and Mitch front. OG, just the mild foot sprain, his right foot, and considering what we saw Saturday night, we'll take it. And then again, Mitchell, cleared by doctors for contact. He will start practicing soon. Good to have him back, or at least back in the practice rotation. As we said, Josh Hart had 19, 8, and 5. Precious Achiuwa had 17 and 9. And again, excellent stuff. As for Cat, well, you know the numbers on him. He's played now 45 games. He's registered 38 double-doubles. He did not have one tonight. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. And he fouled out in the fourth quarter for the fourth time this season. But again, the number is still pretty good for Towns. 38 double-doubles in 45 games. Again, when he doesn't register a double-double and the Knicks win, that's all that matters. As for the defense, well, look, the modern day NBA, the NBA of 2025, you're going to give up 100 points. The Knicks have now given up at least 100 points in 17 of their last 19 games. Now, that could be misleading because they gave up 118 tonight and still won. But just looking back at those games, it was the Minnesota game. They allowed scored just 99. The Brooklyn game back on Tuesday, January 21st, they allowed just 95 points to the Nets. So again, few and far between as far as holding your opponent to double-digit points. But again, 17 of their last 19. So we mentioned it. Now we can move on. As for the Minutes Police, they're back. Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart, well, they went at it tonight. And that's exactly what's going to happen when you're in a close, tight game against a good team. By the way, Knicks third in the Eastern Conference. Rockets, very surprisingly, third in the Western Conference. So it really was an even battle tonight. Rockets now 32-17. Knicks now 33-17. And again, 18-9 at home. All right, back to the minutes where Josh Hart played 40 tonight. Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns played 39 and Cat fouled out. Jalen Brunson played 37. Precious Achiuwa played 34. As for Deuce McBride, he had 3 straight games entering tonight in double-digit figure points. Only had 7 tonight, but did play 26 minutes. Jericho Sims did come in for 1.1 second tonight, so we'll give him a minute. Other than that, just 4 key figures off the bench. Campaign, Deuce McBride, Landry Shamet, and because of the injury to OG and the starting nod for Precious, that meant that Ariel Hukporti came in tonight, and he did something you don't see very often. Played 8 minutes, committed 4 fouls. So that's a foul for every 2 minutes of playing time. Pretty poor, if you ask me. But again, he hasn't played in a while. Played 8 minutes, registered 4 fouls, 2 rebounds and a block. We'll move on. All right, speaking of moving on, the Knicks finally play a road game. No rest for the weary. That's tomorrow night. We'll tell you where it is when we return. All right, looking for tickets for your next big event, whether it's a concert, a comedy show, or a sports game, finding the right ticket at the right price can be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it's never been easier. Let me tell you how it works. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. The curated deals make it super simple to find great tickets at a great price. No more sifting through thousands of options. I recently grabbed a super deal for a prime seat, and I couldn't believe the value. Felt like a steal. The Seat View feature is a game changer as well. Before I even hit buy, I can see exactly what my seat will look like in the venue. Very reassuring. And the best part, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we're back. Segment number 2, the final game of the Knicks' 5-game homestand. This one against the Houston Rockets, and the Knicks win it 124-118. As we said, Jalen Brunson, the hero, MVP chance really for most of the night. 42 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds. Again, in the win for the Knicks. Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, even Precious Achiuwa, who started for OG Anunoby, they all chipped in. It really was a complete performance. with the captain at the head of the line in Jalen Brunson. All right, so we have finally completed the second of the Knicks' lengthy 5-game homestands, and this was the first one in the history of the franchise in which all 5 games of a homestand were played against 5 different Western Conference teams. So it was very interesting. Of course, this 5-game homestand, pretty remarkable considering the stiff competition. They finished this one on a 4-1 stretch. If you recall, the first 5-game homestand, they finished just 2-3. That's when they really started to struggle in early January. But again, this one, much better. They finished 4-1 with wins against Sacramento, Memphis, Denver, obviously the loss to LeBron and the Lakers Saturday night, and now Houston. They'll move on to Toronto tomorrow night. Again, no rest for the weary. Rockets also play tomorrow night for what it's worth, but they get to sleep in New York and play in Brooklyn. The Knicks have to go to Toronto tomorrow night, see old friend RJ Barrett and company and the rest of the Toronto Raptors. As we said, Amen Thompson was brilliant tonight. 25 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, a block, 7 of 7 from the line, took just 17 shots, made 9 of them. Again, a remarkable triple-double. And for some reason, triple-doubles, the sign of the times, if you will. If you recall, LeBron James with a triple-double, his 4th at MSG, and now Amen Thompson with a triple-double, obviously his first of his career at MSG. He is, of course, a rookie. As we said, the minutes police very out in force, and they're going to be worried about tonight because despite the fact that Karl Anthony Towns fouled out, he played 39 minutes. Precious Achiuwa, who was filling in for OG Anunoby, OG would have played 40 minutes. Precious played 34 minutes, his most of the year, and considering he was coming off season high, in points and rebounds, kudos to Precious for getting back exactly where he needed to be. And again, 8 straight games with double-digit minutes played for Precious, and obviously 7 of those coming before the OG injury. So he has been key tonight. Obviously, more of that. He missed the first 21 games, did Achiuwa, with the hamstring. He said now in a pregame interview, he's just starting to feel as close to 100% as he could. He's played 28 games. The Knicks have played 50 games. He has played 28. He missed the first 21. Again, Knicks 18-9 at home, 33-17 overall. As for OG, we told you last night, or at least 2 nights ago, the Knicks are now 52-20 in games he has played in for the Knicks since the trade. However, without him, they're just 500. That includes tonight's win. They were 13-14 before tonight without OG since the trade. They're now 14-14 without him. He, of course, did not play with the right foot sprain. Precious played well, filled in admirably, took just 3 shots, but again, 9 boards and 7 points in addition to 2 steals, a defensive threat there as well. All right, we'll take our final break, finish up on the numbers. We'll do the schedule. We'll do the standings, all the good stuff here on the Knicks Postcast. All right, basketball season is heating up, as you know, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With over 10 million members and billions in awarded winnings, Prize Picks makes it easy and fun to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Here's how it works, folks. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. This week, how about this? Looking at the board, selecting more for Jason Tatum on points, more for Luka Doncic on assists, and the best part, Prize Picks keeps it simple. You can set your lineup in less than 60 seconds, and their fast, secure withdrawals mean you get paid quickly when you win. Plus, their Taco Tuesday promo gives you discounted player projections for even more value. Check out the promos tab to tail any of the super sweet Millie winners big game lineups. If you tail a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can win a split of $1 million in promo funds. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, final segment of the show. A comeback victory for the Knicks, 124-118 over the Houston Rockets. Knicks outscored the Rockets 46-29 in the fourth quarter. The Knicks trailed by 12 in the first half. At one point in the fourth quarter, they trailed by 11. They had not won a game at the Garden this season when trailing after 3 until tonight. They had trailed entering the fourth quarter at the Garden 8 times. Remember, folks, they played 27 games, so that's a pretty good number. Just 8 times they've trailed going into the fourth quarter. They were 0 for 8 before tonight. Make it 1 for 9 now as they get their first win tonight. The Rockets, very good road team, very good defensive team. They won 11 of 14 on the road coming in, 17 and now 9 away from Houston. So really good road team, a really good defensive team. And considering in the final stanza, they had a double-digit lead, great job by the Knicks. 46 points in the fourth quarter. They outscore them by 17. They trail by 11. They win by 6. Tremendous stuff. Now, what's interesting is that as great as the fourth quarter was, that's as miserable as the third quarter was, specifically the second half of the third quarter, and that's why the Knicks were down so big. The Rockets finished the third quarter on a 17-4 run to take the double-digit lead. The crowd was quiet. But again, the combination of really Bridges, Towns, Brunson, and Hart, really the entire starting lineup for that matter, including Precious, well, sparked the crowd. The crowd got into it. Johnny McEnroe was there. Kira Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon were there. All the goods. Yeah, they were all there, and they all enjoyed it very, very much. All right, as for those minutes per game projections, we said Bridges entered the night with the most minutes played of any player this season. He, of course, is also now just one of 9 players in the NBA that has not missed a game. Only 9 of them. Bridges is one of them. Bridges and OG Anunoby were 2 of them when there was 10, but obviously OG did not play tonight. So again, only 9 players in the league have started every game. Bridges is one of them. Excellent stuff from Mikal Bridges. 39 minutes, first in the NBA. He played 39 minutes tonight. Josh Hart, 38 minutes. He played 40 minutes tonight. Again, those numbers sure to go up. All right, as for the standings, really good stuff here as the Knicks creep even closer to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks entered 2.5 back of the Celtics to start the night, and obviously they'll pick up a half game. Cleveland was the first team to 40 wins, that is. They're 40-9. So they lead the Celtics by 5.5. Knicks are 7.5 behind the Cavs, now just 2 back of Boston. And of course, without looking too far in advance, our perfect segue into the schedule, the Knicks play Toronto tomorrow night in Toronto. Difficult spot considering back-to-back with travel. And Toronto did not play tonight. So, again, really rough spot for the Knicks. However, without looking past the Raptors, we won't want to do that because the Raptors are certainly fighting to get in one of those final spots. Raptors are 16-33. However, without looking past Toronto, perhaps a trap game because the Celtics are in town Saturday night. Again, the Knicks are off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Another late Saturday night, 8:30 against the Lakers this past Saturday, 8:30 Eastern against the Celtics this coming Saturday. Should be fun. But again, before we do, perhaps a trap game. We've got Toronto tomorrow night. And of course, we will certainly be with you immediately following that game as well. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Also want to mention our partners in crime over at Locked On Knicks, Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf. You know them as the All-Stars. They handle all the stuff again at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. 124-118. Knicks beat the Rockets in come-from-behind fashion tonight. And for the first time this season, they win a game in which they trailed entering the fourth quarter. The Knicks have now trailed entering the fourth quarter at home 9 times. They've won one of them. That one win was tonight. Kudos to Jalen Brunson, 42 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, and only committed 1 foul, which normally isn't that big a deal, but considering the physicality and the rough and tumbleness of the game tonight, which, by the way, reminds you of the first time the Rockets and the Knicks played in Houston, very similar type game. At one point in the first half, the Rockets led that game by 15. Knicks got it down to 1, could not get any closer. Rockets finished the game on a 9-0 run to close things out. Knicks, perhaps with some revenge on their minds, well, what do? Go down double digits, 12 and then 11, before they turn it around. A 17-point turnaround in the fourth quarter, and they go on to win by 6, 124-118. Knicks 33-17, 18-9 at home, and they will play the Toronto Raptors tomorrow night. Of course, the Knicks postcast will have you covered immediately following. So until then, enjoy your night.